Hello. It's a rainy Saturday, and I guess it's the 22nd of August here. So, um, cooler weather maybe should be ahead for September. My sister's birthday comes, and who knows. Well, one thing I wanted to talk about was violence. Um, we're in a state where they have a lot of problems with their children being violent. You can see on Facebook they're being violent. Now, the one thing that I noticed about the violent children is you talk to their parents will tell you how they try to whoop them. They just don't listen. Anyway, here's I wrote down about what I found about violence. Just the definition. That'll be fun. Okay, violent. An act of doing with strong, rough force, violent blows, violent language, right? Okay, two. Uh, oh, um, Violence. Rough force in action, slamming a door with violence, harming, injury, cause harm and injury to be unlawful. You can go to jail. And most people, like if you ever see somebody like whooping their child, for example, you see they'll do it with a lot of fury and passion, and it's an improper treatment or use of words. They also, like like calling your child out of their name or just using words that are not appropriate for their age, just calling them ugly, um, you know, um, and rape is also violent. Now, whooping. Well, the definition of whooping is a beating or a flagging. You know, and they're saying that's with even if you use cords, twine, or the likes. So a whooping you can use like anything, a switch, a paddle, and the results that I find just from my own observation, being privileged of being around people that weren't whooped and versus people that have been whooped. First of all, they always think somebody's gonna drop the other shoe, especially if they did something wrong. They're expecting, retaliation. So then they like to well, I'm gonna do it first, whatever type of thinking. You know what I mean? Because they think they know, because they were brought up in a house that instead of learning more vocabulary and language, they learn more of hitting. It's just, if they're like, mom, I want to tell you something, I want to tell you something. She might like, shut up, and backhand them, or something like that, or just like push them away, or tell them shut up, because words at certain ages can be very harmful too. Ignoring, rejection, that's very harmful also to the child. So what we find out that a whooping is considered a beating, which is considered a violent act, and then we find that it causes the child to learn to hit, to learn to be violent, also to learn to be a little scared, to be a little paranoid. You don't know when, you know what I'm saying? Because like when I notice some of these parents hitting them, like for me, I don't understand why they're hitting them. There's no reason. You know what I'm saying? When you could sort of you could sort of I taught primary school, so I mean they're very easy. Like give them a crayon. They're very easy. Like they're learning age. Give them something to occupy their mind. A puzzle is great. Coloring is great. Even them learning their multiplication can be great for them. Like if they have to 5, 10, 15, 20 do it in a rhyme or something, jump rope, double dutch or something. You know what I'm saying? Do your threes or whatever, like with jacks or something. So and I think that we misunderstand what games and playing was for with children. Like the Jews with the dreidel, and each side that it lands on is a different letter, and each letter represents something that they had taught that child, and what I'm saying. And so even if they're playing cards like war, spades, I don't like Uno, but that's alright. But, there's a lot of games. Um, Even poker in 21. But, dominoes, kids, will engage in games and art and music and cooking. They especially like eating. And you can even engage them into like, gardening. They love playing in dirt, so they like gardening. There's a lot of things that, you know, you might have to participate with them in teaching them and using words, to explain, because they just don't know, they're still new to the world. Um, so like I always hear on the news, getting back, I always hear on the news like, well, how can we stop the violence? Don't the key thing and the only thing you can do to stop the violence is to stop the cause of it, which is the whooping. Stop whooping the kids, and they will not be learning to whoop as a solution to like aggravation, frustration. Because what happens is, and when like I was listening to this human development guy, fabulous guy, but anyway, and he was showing where it was sort of like the more oppressed. Well, he was using baboons with the hierarchy, but when he sort of like got a little deeper into it, maybe a little bit more. But anyway, that because of oppression, objectifying women and men, because let's face it, there are some men that will compete a lot of females and they enter the female world, and they're going to enter the same type of objectification that females get. So, welcome to it, Jenna. No, anyway, whatever. Um, but so the problem, the problem is that the hitting and the beating causes at a young age a lack of like trust to their parents. Um, it causes a disrespect in a sense. Because sometimes the child might not did nothing. I've heard of people talking about where like this one girl on this, she's like uh no girl, she's a grown woman, she's older than me, but she got abused by a relative, and like they believe in like, well, so and so hit you, come home, I'll hit you. So the mom hit her. So finally, what happened was I think she had ran off to her cousin's house and told her cousin she wanted to live with them, and they shared the same grandparent or something. Oh, it doesn't work. Yeah, yeah. So anyway, she ended up staying there and then finding out. So, you can't tell your mom, how are you going to trust her the first day you show up, you're having a tragedy and she wants to hit you, or she wants to know what you did, or are you a bad child? These are all bad words for kids. So I think that the Memphis' number one problem is that they believe in capital punishment and they believe in whooping. If you engage your kids into learning as nature intended them to be, you will find that like I notice people that hang out with, they're very cooperative with their parents. Uh, they end up, in some cases, you know, being able to really take care of their parents in old age, and it's not a chore. I don't see them hitting their parents. I see the kids that got whooped, who got, in my age, in the mid 50s here. Um, I see people that are older, and I can see them interacting with their elderly parents, and they hit their elderly parents for being incontinent and all this stuff, the stuff that's out of their hands, just like what the parent had did to them as a child. And I know this one guy. He goes, "Well, what was I supposed to do when I was a child? Tell him to not whoop me?" I was like, "No, you just don't whoop your child." Because you know how bad it was. Because you're sniveling and you crying about it. And that's another thing. Not only do they hit, but they cry a lot. They cry about everything, which is sort of aggravating. crying, then comes the runny nose, they make the ugly ooh cry face, and you're like, oh, man. It's like, this is not a happy time for me. I don't want to be here. Person like, that's just a downer. They're depressed. And, it's like you have a society that, the root problems we're not solving. The root problem with violence that we will for kids. The root problem with why our children are not, doing well in society is because our schools are failing them. So we need to get to the root of the problem. You know what I'm saying? You keep, anyway, stop whooping your kids, and then you won't be, and that, and if, when you ask, what can we do? It's not punish the kids more. It's not like, oh, we need to, put our kids with some stranger. You don't know what these people are doing to your kids. Because one of the things violent people do is it escalates, or it can escalate, not in everybody, because we're all individuals, thank God. Some will go to rape, some will go to murder. Some are just narcissistic, double-biting hypocrites that you can't trust. You know. Anyway, the cure starts at childhood and it starts with parents. Don't be leaving your kids with people you don't know. At this day and age, you can double check it. If you don't have a computer, go down to the library. They have one. Have a nice day. Don't whoop your kids. Martin Luther King was nonviolent. Whooping is violence.